Hey, Minuteman Preparedness. So we'll be moving on to video 4 of the Preparedness for Beginners series. So in recap, in video 1 we discussed physical home security, water, food, and medications, prescription and over-the-counter. Then we moved on to video 2 where we discussed batteries, fuel, and defensive tools. And then in video 3, we talked about cash and barter, AM/FM radio, and then illumination, whether it be flashlights, lanterns, and chem lights. So today in video 4 of the series, we'll be talking about 4 important items you need to have to be better prepared during an emergency situation. So I'm going to go ahead and start this one off with basic tools. A lot of people have these, some may not, especially if you live in an apartment. But basic tools such as a hammer, screwdrivers, Phillips and flathead, and different sizes. There are different sizes to screwdrivers. Adjustable wrenches, pry bar, a mini sledgehammer, a large sledgehammer, just your basic everyday tools, needle nose pliers, a socket set. All of these things can come in handy, especially during an emergency. You may have to fix, as in video 1 with your physical home security, you may have to fix a hinge on a door, fix a lock on a door, secure a door or window. So you're going to need tools to help you facilitate those actions. You also may need to be able to force exit out of your residence, or you may need to be able to force entry lawfully into another building. That's where the mini sledge, the full-size sledge, and different types of pry bars come in handy. Also, along with having basic tools in your home, you need to also have tools in your vehicle. I keep everything I just mentioned, I keep in all of my vehicles and in my home and in my buildings. I always have tools. And dealing with tools, you may want to get, specific actually with vehicles. You'll need a tire patch kit. Make sure you have a jack. And if you have a lift or leveling kit or larger tires on your vehicle, you may need a jack that is able to reach those heights, or have some cribbing, wooden blocks, in your vehicle where you can adjust the height out of your jack. Or if your jack is on sand, you need to think about these things in long term. A tire pump. All these different types of things you can think of that you may need in your home or in your vehicle. Also, a couple important things with tools is duct tape and zip ties. Zip ties and duct tape, very important, very important. And with the zip ties, they have small, medium, and then 24-inch zip ties. They have, your tanky ones all the way up to the ones that you can utilize for restraining a person. They can be 180, 200-pound strength zip ties. So those are some things you need to put together for your home and your vehicle. Next would be basic communications. Now, I'll be doing a video later on getting more in-depth in basic communications. I have done a video on my Instagram and on YouTube on a video on a basic communications radio that I have. I have 8 or 9 of these radios on top of a lot of other radios. But that's the baofeng UV82. And, I have different antennas, extended batteries, USB charging cables for them. They're VHF, UHF, have FM radio on them. And if you go online, there are a lot of YouTubers that do videos on the basic use of those radios, how to program them, The good thing about a lot of the baofengs, not all of them, but a lot of them, is they have a keypad on the front, so you can manually punch in frequencies if you know them and gain access to them just by punching them in if you don't know how to program them via software, which would be Chirp. And I didn't know a lot about this type of stuff. You know, I've always had radios, but I just got into programming and really kind of delving into, you know, the more intricate parts of communications. But I'll do a video later on that. But the Baofeng UV82 is what I utilize in all of my on all of my kits, all of my get home bags. They're in every vehicle. They're also in EMP bags, which I'll be doing a video later on about that. But there's one radio that there's a lot of accessories for, and it's kind of the tried and true radio when it comes to very economical, very easy on your wallet radio. Is again is a baofeng radio, but it's the UV5R. It's kind of squared like a brick, not square but rectangle. There's a lot of accessories that are made for those. That's kind of one of baofeng's flagship radios. A lot of people like those. I went on Amazon and just kind of looked around. You can get two of those radios, the UV5Rs from baofeng, for $40. That's two rubber ducky antennas, two extended antennas, two regular batteries, two extended batteries to 3,800 milliamp hour batteries. I mean, $40 for that. That's really good. You can program in, you know, your FRS, GMRS frequencies, which FRS, as I've stated in another in another video, that it is against FCC regulations to utilize a radio that has a removable antenna for FRS. But during an emergency, me personally, I don't really think there would be that big of an issue, but you could program GMRS frequencies in there and, you know, utilize these for emergencies. So it may be something to check out. The Baofeng UV82 and the Baofeng UV5R. Another thing we need to jump into is basic medical supplies. Now, I touched on this in video 1 when I was talking about having your over-the-counter prescription medications, but you need to have a good basic medical bag. Now, you can go to Walmart or any of those places like that, the pharmacy, and get the pre-made. A lot of times they may be in a blue nylon zipper bag. You know, they'll have your basic, you know, multi-size bandages, you know, some flat gauze, some rolled gauze, you know, bandage scissors, tongue depressors, things of that sort. You know, that's a good option. But if you purchase something like that, I would go ahead and purchase some extra medical tape. You need a good thermometer, a pulse ox, which is a lot of times when you go to the doctor, it's the little device they put on the end of your finger. It reads your O2 saturation in your blood, and also checks your heart rate. That's a great thing to have. A blood pressure cuff is also something you can grab. Speaking of the pulse ox, I picked up one a couple years ago at Walmart. Very inexpensive. You know, then you also need, you know, your basic alcohol wipes, because they're just convenient and you can start a fire with them. Peroxide, you know, hand disinfectant wipes, you know, for cleaning your hands off. Also, you know, some Clorox wipe for cleaning off surfaces if you have to do some sort of medical, you know, bandaging somebody up. You don't want to put your items down on a dirty surface. You know, it may be dirty or, you know, not clean, so you need to wipe that down to decontaminate it. Also, having ointments, you know, for bug bites, poison ivy, poison oak, poison sumac, antiseptic ointment, you know, putting on a wound, and then when you bandage it up, anything medical-wise you think you may need, those are your basic things. You need to make a bag, a 5-gallon bucket, something, keep it together, and keep it in a safe place in your home. You also need to keep basic medical supplies, in your vehicles. That's important. You need to keep those things. Also, along, with that, you need like antidiarrheal medication. If you get car sick, anything like that, you need to think about the things that you need and you utilize. You need to purchase them and purchase some extra, as I've talked about, in your home pharmacy, and build up that home pharmacy. But you also need items set aside for an emergency, and you need to rotate those items, especially if it's prescription or over-the-counter medications. Another thing we're going to talk about is maps. Now, a lot of people utilize their phone. A lot of people don't use paper maps anymore. They just jump on Google, use their cell phone. What if your cell phone battery's dead? What if there's a cyber attack, and the network's down, and, you're in an area of town you don't know that well, or you don't really know where you live? I have met people that know how to come, get in and out of where they live, but they don't know the roads or the area around them. That kind of falls back down into some situational awareness. You need to know what's going on, and that reverts back to video 1 with your physical home security. So in those types of situations, you need to have foldable maps that are laminated so they won't get messed up. You can utilize them in the rain, keeps them a little safer. You can also get map books, which are nice, but they can be kind of bulky. It's not something you really want to throw in a pack. If your vehicle breaks down and you're going to have to walk home or walk somewhere, and you don't necessarily know the best where you are, having a foldable map is convenient. You can throw it in your back pocket, in your book bag, under your shirt, whatever. They're just easier to carry. Also, something else to think about is if you live in an area, more towards, a mountainous region, is topo maps. You can go to online and go to USGS TOPO MAPS, and you can actually look at whatever area you want to, and it'll show you every map that they have ever done of that area. And especially in the mountainous areas, you need to know, where the valleys are, where the peaks are, how close those lines are, and compare it to how steep, those areas are going to be if you have to walk and, you're not on a roadway. A lot of these times, if there's an emergency situation or, just a bad thing, you don't want to be walking on the road necessarily, because it's going to draw attention. People are going to be looking at you. You may want to get off the beaten path a little bit, or if you pull out that map, you might find there's a shorter route from where you are to where you need to be. Instead of utilizing the road, it may be easier just to take the off-road approach, but you're going to need maps for that. You're going to need a compass for that, if you really want to do it the right way, and you're going to need to know how to use that compass. So, these are all things you need to think about. A lot of people can't afford to just run out and do all of this at one time, everything I've listed in these now 4 videos. It's something you work at a little bit at a time. Kind of start off at the top with your water and your food and your medications, and just kind of, work your way down the best you can. If you start today and, next week something happens, at least you've got something set aside to help you out during that time. It's always better to start today than tomorrow. So with that, stay safe. Minuteman out.